The material in front of me here, and it says, in the Orator, that's you, we're going to meet the beauty of Peter N. Zarlenga. Can you explain what you mean by your beauty?
Yes, our definition of beauty is harmony in harmony with itself. So if you are a human being and you are being what you are, this is what is called beautiful.
And so everybody has this?
Everyone has the potential to create it through their own thought and action if they choose to do so.
And you've achieved this?
Yes, I have.
And therefore, we are meeting the beauty of Peter N. Zarlenga.
I thank you for the compliment.
It's your compliment.
What troubles me about that statement, Mr. Zarlenga, is that prior to the program, we had a chance to sit down for 15 or 20 minutes to talk, and I find you a very bitter, aggressive man. You are talking love and peace, and you sound very bitter. You are against society, you are against religion, you say that all politicians are corrupt, that all lawyers are corrupt, etc., etc. That doesn't sound like a man speaking from the base of love, peace, and beauty.
If that sounds to you the way it sounds to you, perhaps it is your ears and not my voice that you are hearing.
No. That's a thought transference or a guilt transference which I won't accept. You can't put that on me. I am interpreting your words as we understand the English language, and you sound like a bitter man.
I think that what you're doing is you're refusing to consider the reality that my words represents, and you're making a roundabout circle and trying to indicate somehow that I'm not a happy human being. I am very happy.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not bitter.
Yeah.
You think I'm bitter,
the thing that you
perhaps
say,
sweetness appears to be bitterness to you.
the thing that you say you do, or one of the many things that you say you do, is destroy evil through rhetoric. Billy Graham, in a different context, says he does the same thing, only his evil is the devil. What evil are you trying to destroy, and what makes you different from Mr. Graham?
Evil is that which is out of order with human being. For example, if I drank a glass of sulfuric acid, this acid would be something that would kill me, therefore it is evil to me. In a Christian sense of that, the word would be sinful. All that means, all evil means, is something that is not good for human beings.
You still haven't answered my question. What makes you different from Billy Graham? Who is,
I am right and he's wrong.
is anybody but you right?
There are many people that are right. Most of them, pardon me, are not who is considered to be authorities today. They are the common man that is right.
What you've just suggested that Eddie Keene over here had misinterpreted what you had said, or the impression that you left, and the suggestion was that he did this because he was, I gathered, he was evil himself. I've often felt that there was something lacking, but I've never gone quite that far. I wondered, what advice would you have for a man like this? What should he do to straighten himself out? Eddie, I mean.
I would not advise someone on what to do. I do not believe in that. I think that you can suggest to people that if they open their eyes and look at reality, they can see for themselves what is real. And if they act upon that which is real, this is the definition of what is right. If they do what is right, they are being good. If they are being good, they are becoming what they could be. But I think that Eddie is a very friendly man. And I think that sometimes if he hears something that might be a little serious, he might take that as bitterness. This is a very common thing.
In other words, he only respects frivolity, and when you were being serious, he took this to be a bad sign in you, whereas actually it was a bad sign in him. How can he straighten himself out, though? Give me some specific advice.
Appreciate all the help you're doing.
If he wanted to become real, right, good, and true, there is only one thing that he would have to do. That is to choose to cause his own change. The greatest mistake that humanity is making today is to feel that change is something that it is not. We do not have a choice to change or not to change as human beings, only in which direction to move.
We're getting down to practical advice, though. Now, this fellow's a very, very talented radio man here. He's a good newspaper person, or was in the newspaper business. What should he specifically do to change the way of life that he's got? Give me some tangible example.
He should speak the truth so that his children will be free.
Well, no, but he usually speaks the truth. I know some say he doesn't, but I think he does. Give me a more specific example. Where is he not speaking the truth? He talks enough. You mean, is he lying? No, let's have some examples. We've got a real case in point right here.
I don't think that you realize the grave seriousness to which I made that last statement.
Well, I want you to give me some specific
But
example of one subject.
I said,
Eddie
and I
King,
will repeat
tainted
it,
with evil.
that if this man, and any man, especially in the media, speaks the truth, the Canadian children will be free, and the American children will be free. And this is something that probably will not be the way we're going today.
Presumably we don't understand what truth is and you do. Would you please help me, because I'm a journalist too, and I need to know what truth is.
How old are you, sir?
I'm old enough to know better, I think.
You're old enough to know what the truth is.
Then you're not old enough to tell me.
I would never presume to tell a man something that he already knows.
Well, we're really playing games, so let's, maybe we better start all over.
I am not playing a game.
First of all, your organization is much like success seminars and that sort of thing. You go to organizations and you're trying to get people to fulfill their potential. Is that correct? Would that be a fair definition of what you do?
No, it would not in the first part. In the second part, it would be. It is not like any success seminar that I have ever heard of. As far as trying to encourage people to do what they could do and achieve their potential, I would say it's one of the basic American principles that is a dying belief in America, that each individual person should seek to create excellence in anything that they choose to do.
And reach their highest fulfillment, ability, and everything like that. Secondly, you hold these seminars and enroll people in your course, and you charge, well, I think quite heftily, $250, $1,000, $2,000 for a personal appearance. You charge for this. So you make no bones about this. This is a commercial enterprise by which you make your living.
There is nothing more that I enjoy than traveling through my native land making money.
How do you differ from Scientology? Now, that's another group that have somewhat the same things. They seem to talk much the same language. Is there any difference between yourselves and the group they call Scientology?
There is no comparison between Scientology and the principles that flight teaches.
What is the difference?
The difference is that Scientology gets a bunch of weak people who want to evade life to pay them money to pretend that they are doing something that is good. And when they go through various levels of that program, they become manipulators of other people and make money from them unfairly.
Now, let's differentiate between that description and what you do.
What we do is we point out to every individual that comes to any of our programs, number one, that reality exists and is real. And that if they want to live, they're going to have to be smart with reality and not be deceiving themselves and living in illusion.
I'm having very great difficulty understanding what you're talking about, and I'm sorry, that's probably my fault. But when I pay attention to what somebody is saying, it's usually their credentials that impress me a little bit. So what are your credentials for saying anything?
My credentials are myself. It is self-evident. The reality of my existence supersedes any credential that I could give you.
Well, let's talk educationally then.
Let me ask a question, Ed. You seem to be very open with us by the standards of what you're doing. And you charge, you told me, sometimes 30, 40 people up to $50 a meeting to come to a weekly session in Chicago. How much money do you make? That's a total figure. Now, that's not an abstract at all. It's not philosophical. How much money in dollars do you make in a year?
I think I'll answer your real question, if I may, assume
No,
tonight.
that's my real question. I know my own intention.
If I may assume anyway, from my side, all the money that we make is made with absolute integrity, and it is a great deal of money.
And you won't tell me how much?
No, I will not.
Why not?
Are you familiar with the KGB in Russia?
I'm not familiar with the
Are you
KGB.
familiar with the IRS in America?
You're afraid of the IRS in America?
I'm not afraid of
Well,
the
then why
IRS.
not say how much you make?
I recognize what the IRS is.
Do you make enough money? You said that in Chicago, because in the process of a previous discussion, you said psychiatrists are corrupt and attorneys are corrupt, and one of the reasons that you make that judgment is because none of those has ever gone to one of your meetings. You say the judges in Chicago, where you live, are so corrupt that everybody knows you can get off on a murder charge for $50,000. Do you have enough money each year to get yourself off on a murder charge if necessary?
That's a very indirect way of putting it. No, we do not have that amount of cash available at any one time because in the publication of the Orator, we are disseminating the truth at a cost to us that exceeds what people are paying us.
You're not disseminating the truth as regards your income. You're concealing the truth.
You're evading that question. You admit you're evading.
Gentlemen, let me look you all in the eye and tell you this. I had a tax agent at my home who asked me these 3 questions. Give up your naivety on this question. They said, where does your mother live? Number 1. Number 2, do you mention religion in your speeches? Number 3, what is your definition of truth?
Well, they want to know, are you registered? You're not registered as a charitable institution for tax purposes.
That would be a compromise.
Do you never compromise?
Not in our program. I smoke cigarettes. That I would say is evil. It's against human health.
You said something
I'll
interesting.
admit it right away.
You said you were a very heroic man. Has anybody but you ever said that of you?
I have children named after me. I am considered by many people to be what I am.
When I knew that we would be interviewing you, I wanted to know something about you. I still don't know very much, but I wanted to know something about you.
Ask me.
I phoned the Better Business Bureau and the Department of Consumer Affairs in Chicago and asked if they had ever heard of you or Flight. No record of you. You're not registered. Where would I go to find out if you're a con man or whether you are really out to help us become better human beings? Where would I find that out?
Well, if you are a man who respects authority over reality, then you would call up the Better Business Bureau. If you were a man who respects actual achievement and reality, then you would come to one of our meetings, obviously.
No, but how long has Flight operated? How long have you been
For
in?
about 5 years
What
now.
did you do prior to that?
I, in my youth, all the way up to that time, have been a lifeguard, a soldier, various different things.
And what occurred that caused you to get into this? What
I
changed
became
your life?
very angry with the injustice I saw when I was in the Army.
Gentlemen, we'll return with Peter Zarlenga right after this message.
Another of my oversimplified questions, Mr. Zarlenga. Do you believe in capital punishment?
I think that if an individual murders another human being, it is that act that condemns them to the same thing that they did to somebody else.
So you're
and
saying
that the
yes.
state, or whoever you want to call it, that really executes it, is merely a tool of justice. I am, in some cases, on some days, I even consider degrees of death penalty.
But you say that we should do what we believe is right. Perhaps I believe that the murder of this person is a just and right act. I am doing what I believe is right, and you say that that is part of my fulfillment. Do what I think is right. I think rubbing that person out was doing something right. Now, I may be wrong by community standards, but you're by social standards, but you're saying to reach my fulfillment, I should do what I think is right.
No, you got me wrong there, just slightly. I said that you should do what is right.
Oh, and the
Not what you
philosophers
think is right or
and the
feel is
philosophers
right.
and the philosophers and the writers of the churches and everything have been arguing for years over what is right. Have we suddenly found you who will clear that all up for us?
Yes, you have.
What is it?
What is right is reality put into action. In the case of a human being, if you put the essence of your being into action, that is what is called moral or good for life or right.
What do you mean by reality?
That which exists.
All right, now, these terms are, reality is that which exists, and beauty is that which conforms, and...
I didn't say that.
Well, what no, you said you were beautiful because you had...
I said specifically, and I think you heard me, that beauty, in our definition, is harmony in harmony with itself.
You don't mean in your definition, you don't
It is
speak-
my definition. I created that
But
definition.
you just told us a few minutes ago that you speak the truth where nobody else ever has, so you don't need to
I did
add-
not say that. You are being very unfriendly to me.
Well, then who else has
absolutely
spoken the truth?
mystified by it.
You are either making an error, sir, or you are trying to defame my character.
I can't
did
do
not
a much
say
better job than
the
what
last
you've done
two
here.
quotes
There's
that you attributed to me. And I take great insult to my dignity that you are doing that to me.
Well, I see
reason
you're
for you
a
to do
man
that.
of a reason, imagination, emotion, and intensity, according to this, and you have great moral courage, so there you have an opportunity to use some of it. Could you tell me how many people work for you
We have
on a
5
payroll
people.
basis?
We have 5 people on the staff that work for Flight, and we have many others that do part-time work voluntarily.
How did you get to Edmonton? Why Edmonton?
The reason I came here is there's a group of honest people here who are concerned with the future of humanity, and I see it as my responsibility to recognize those people.
Who are they?
They are Mr. Monart Pon and an organization known as Starship.
An organization known as Starship.
Yes.
And it exists here in Edmonton?
Yes, it does.
And
It has been ignored by the press, so I imagine you haven't heard about it.
Well, you know,
Is it possible for someone to disagree with you in virtually every aspect and also speak the truth?
No, it is not.
So you have the only definition of truth.
I did not say that. I said that.
Well, I'm interpreting now.
You are interpreting. Now, why
But
don't you define what truth is?
That's what I asked you to do.
Before. But then it was too early to give it to you. Now you're really concerned. Aristotle's definition of truth, to give you a bit of a historical perspective, is to say of that which is, that it is, and of what is not, that it is not. Truth is, in Ayn Rand's definition, the recognition of reality. In a cab driver's definition from Chicago, that's what is, and what is not is a lie. Now, we have others lying
But
too.
certain things are for me that are not for you.
If you can name one thing that is true for you or any member of this audience, I'll give you $1,000.
Would you like to challenge? Would you like me
for
to?
anybody else?
That is true for me and not
Not
for
for
anyone else.
anybody
Yes?
else.
And you will pay me
I'll give
$1,000.
you $1,000.
You are a
If
charlatan,
you
sir.
mention one thing that is true for you,
That I just gave you an absolute statement of truth for me. You are a charlatan.
if I in fact am a charlatan, then you would be speaking the truth. If in fact I am a man whose genius
You asked me to
serves
come up
truth,
with truth for me,
whose
sir.
conscience
That's truth
serves
for me.
justice, and whose life serves liberty, then it is you that is an obscenity against the human spirit, sir.
It's pretty bad, all right. You were mentioning Aristotle, and you quoted Aristotle's definition of truth. Tell me this, which of his books provides that definition? Of Aristotle's books?
Which of his books provides that definition? I believe it's in a number of different places, especially the metaphysics.
His book called Metaphysics?
Metaphysics.
That's the name of the book?
It's the name of a piece that he wrote.
I see. And how was, what else did he write?
He wrote many other things.
Name.
Why should I?
I don't think you can. I mean, I'm guessing now, and maybe that's a...
Let me get right to the heart of this.
I'm right at the heart.
If I may.
You're quoting
May I be-
Aristotle.
may I be very
and
direct
you
with
haven't
you?
read Aristotle.
May I be very direct with you? It is religious insanity and socialist insanity that is destroying the world. And I think that your argument with me is a protection of Christianity.
I'm just asking.
You know what I'm worried about? Listening to all this, Mr. Zarlenga, you know what worries me? You talk about truth and justice and that sort of thing, and I'm sure you're not familiar with what I do in this city, but it's been one of my dedications for a long period of time. And I've seen people like you come in, and in my interpretation of justice and truth, I would really hate to see a charlatan come in and take advantage of young people who are honestly, within themselves, looking for truth and that sort of thing. And I'll end the question by saying a while back, a book appeared saying, start your own church and make $1 million. You saw a chance to make a buck in this sort of thing, and you're going around really confounding people. Now prove me wrong, please.
I think that by your existence, it's self-evident that you're wrong.
But you've just finished
Just before we have a
How could
question,
you say
Ted,
this?
we'll return with Peter Zarlenga right after this message.
At the risk of belaboring the point, I want to get this straight about Eddie Keene. Now, when we started off, you suggested he was evil. Then you said his evil was that he was good-natured. And just before we went for the break, you were back to calling him evil again. And you also say that you're more or less infallible. Now, we want to get this clear. Is he evil, or what exactly is wrong with him? in your estimation? It's very important to the people here in Edmonton that they know this.
I think that I would like to say something directly past the media to the people of Edmonton and cover your question at the same time.
You're not going to cover
I'm a
my
man
question.
who deals in principles that help people to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. And I'm quite surprised that I have not been asked about these principles. I'm being asked about all this trivia. I like this city. I feel good here. I think that the people in Edmonton represent some of the best things that we used to have in Chicago.
$27,000 annual average incomes north of the river, they say. That's pretty good. Never had it that good in Chicago, I'll bet you.
I don't judge human achievement by money.
Oh, I'm sorry. But you told me you did. You said it was a good thing to make money.
I said that I enjoyed traveling through my native land, making money.
But you don't like making it when you're not in your native land up here in Canada?
Well, you have to consider the way in which I make money.
Did you say before we came in here, sir, that you thought that Edmonton would be more rural and the people would be, in your words, dumber, but you have found them 10 times smarter than Chicagoans? Is that
Yes,
what you said?
I did say that.
What is that based on?
It is based on meeting and speaking to a significant number of the people here and by observing them for 3 days.
What qualifies as a significant number of people? That's another one of those abstract questions, I suppose.
To a philosopher, one.
Well, what about to a moneymaker who allowed me on this show to call him a charlatan? How many people do you consider?
I think you're being very kind to me when you call me a charlatan. Usually someone who's an anti-Christian is called a Nazi.
Well, you see, we don't get into that kind of thing.
Or an atheist, you know. What are you religiously?
I'd say
We're on that now.
infidel.
How much do you figure you'll be able to...
No, an infidel is a Christian statement suggesting a non-Christian. What would you describe yourself as religious?
In the old sense, it used to be that. In the modern sense, it's someone who harasses particularly Christians in public. I think I think that Christianity in my country, and I think that you're going to soon discover it more in your country, is destroying civilization.
But that's what you do, then. You don't go around so much trying to generate sweetness and light as you try and harass religion.
Well, I'll tell you this, if I am a charlatan and a con man, I'm going about it the wrong way, wouldn't you say?
No, the right
because
way.
you make
And all
enough
this
money.
publicity is the perfect thing. How much do you figure you'll clear in Edmonton if things go well? I mean, 10,000 bucks in Edmonton worth
I
10,000.
figure we'll lose about $270 from this trip.
You're not doing very well here.
As I
What's
said, I
going
came
on?
here for a point of honor.
How
And
much
maybe
is
you
that
don't
worth?
recognize that as an existent. I came here for an honorable reason.
$2,000.
I think if you're wrong, you know, at 27,000.
Wrong on Thursday.
This is CFRN Television.